Back in 2013, when Attack on Titan started coming out, I remember thinking to myself, gee willikers, this is almost as good as Sword Art Online! Okay, I think I need to do a different intro. When Attack on Titan started, the hype was real. And not like any of this moderate anime community hype where everyone in the community is loving Mob Psycho 100 because it's like one of the best anime ever. No, I'm talking about mega hype. Not only was the pants on fire for every single male member of the anime community due to the friction of rubbing their dicks to Attack on Titan, the non-anime community as well, or as some people call them, normos, got their first tastes in anime with this vicious brilliance. Taking the world by storm is an understatement to the hype level of Attack on Titan when it first began. Whereas right now, for example, with Season 3 Part 2 starting, and where they didn't even have the balls to call it Season 4. They had to come up with Season 3 Part 2. Honestly, Japan, what are we paying you for? Yeah, it's true that people still like the series a lot. But as far as the growth in Attack on Titan since Season 1, as well as what's going on in the manga right now, which I will not spoil in this video, aside from let you know, it is a classic in the making. The chapters come out monthly, and every month is a banger that sets the moderately small Attack on Titan manga community on fire. Attack on Titan Season 1, which had all the hype, was perhaps, in retrospect, overrated. Whereas Attack on Titan's perception now, in regard to not only the anime, but especially the manga, is it's very underrated. Everyone was vocally saying Attack on Titan's one of the best anime ever just after a few episodes came out of Season 1. But right now, most people are not all too enthralled with the series, despite the fact that it's deserving of it and more. This video will not only be analyzing the Attack on Titan series itself and how it progressively got better and better until what's gonna take place after Season 3 Part 2, where the entire story shifts from an action anime to a geopolitical one, but I'm also gonna be analyzing the psychology behind why the community itself acted in these two very strange ways. The first and most obvious dissonance between Season 1 and what's going on now is the fact that Season 1 came out at the beginning of 2013. Season 2 came out at the end of 2017. That is an all too long, brutally destructive wait for the sequel of any given series. Now, this isn't an episodic series either, but it's a flowing narrative, and if anything's cut off like that for 4.5 years, it's bound to be destructive to the fan base that held it dear. The normos that enjoyed the original Attack on Titan Season 1, at least the vast majority in my personal experience, have never even seen Season 2. Whether they didn't know it was out, they lost interest in the series, or they just didn't really remember Season 1, let's not beat around the bush and imagine that this 4.5 year break wasn't detrimental to some extent. Now, that's obvious. So in regard to the community at large, including the non-anime fans, yes, it went from overrated to underrated, and I think that's very valid and understandable. But even within the anime community itself, the people that are in the know, I feel like still overrated the first season on average and are underrating where the story went. Something that occasionally annoys me about YouTubers saying things that are conjecture as fact. So I guess I'm gonna put this between the analysis and theory spectrum, because I thought about it for a while. It's my take on it. I think it's right. I'm not saving this to cover my own ass, because literally everyone does it and no one gets in trouble for it. I'm just kind of saying it so you can be open-minded and disagree if you'd like, and that would be dope, and let me know in the comments why I'm wrong and polluting the minds of the upcoming generation of anime losers. Anyway, I think the first episode of an anime is so crucial to nail. Now, this is not an unpopular opinion. In fact, if you'd ask most people, should the first episode of this show be good? Or should the first chapter of this book be good? Honestly, most people would probably tell you yes. And honestly, I agree with them. But the thing is, I don't particularly want to tackle the importance of making the first episode epic, maybe another time. But in this video, I want to tackle the importance of not making the first episode too epic. According to this theory/analysis of mine, when the first episode comes out and it immediately grabs everyone's attention with anything bombastic in comparison to the norm that we are used to. And a perfect example, that's Attack on Titan's first episode. You know, seemingly normal shonen formula, everything's nice, all of a sudden the Titans come in, start slaughtering humanity. Humanity seems to have no hope. Kid watches his mother get eaten before his eyes while he helplessly can't do anything. It's very gruesome shiz. And I don't want to go into the greatness that went into this episode 1, which is undeniably one of the best first episodes to an anime. But I believe, to a certain extent, whatever our perception is of anything changes our opinions on it purely subconsciously. Take this for example. There's someone you look up to greatly. You respect his tastes, you respect his opinions. He's a great dude or dudette. I don't judge. And women can be great too. And and they tell you they love something and that it's incredible. When you experience that, whatever it is, your personal perception of that thing will be altered due to the preconceived notion of what you should be feeling in its regard. Sometimes it could backfire, meaning someone hypes you tremendously for a show, let's say JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I don't know anyone that's done that, and you try it and let's say you don't like it, or even you like it but not a lot, just like moderately. It will disappoint you more because your expectations were built up. Now, aside from the fact that everyone should watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the takeaway point is, whatever you tell yourself in regard to anything, whether it's someone told you it's good and you believe them, or it's your personal favorite thing and you just defended it in an argument against somebody, so now you want to see its greatness in future episodes, subconsciously it will affect your enjoyment of the series. So now, here's where a bombastic first episode comes into play. Since Attack on Titan Episode 1 was so much more than anyone expected in regards to how graphic it was, how tense it felt, the mystery of the situation, the insane thrilling drama, and the hopelessness of how humanity can ever fight back, it just hit you with an emotional wallop as to what this show is. It literally took the world by storm. So this hype that was thrown at you at Episode 1, this hype that everyone was excited about and talking about, affected the entirety of the community. They wanted to love Attack on Titan, and there was what to love. So this led to the insane explosion of hype that Attack on Titan generated. Do I think it was undeserved hype? Well, I don't know if Season 1 of Attack on Titan itself deserved that massive hype bomb, as opposed to some other anime that did not receive similar treatment. Obviously, it's a matter of taste, but I personally wasn't all too invested in the characters. I thought the concept was great, but the execution was lacking in certain areas. I didn't appreciate that there was 4 episodes of training in that army boot camp place, and still it didn't get me to love any character. Yes, there are flaws with Attack on Titan Season 1, and you're still fully allowed to enjoy it. That's great. Do I think it was overhyped? Yeah. Do I think it was partially because of the first episode? Partially, but even more so, I think with a first episode like that, disappointment hits harder. Perhaps it fooled someone into thinking the series is better than it actually is, and that is when the series started getting underhyped. In retrospect, looking at Season 1, the undeniable best episode is the first. Add that to the large weight between Season 1 and 2, and interest in the series begins to plummet over time. Now, if you look at something like Sword Art Online, for example, a very popular series that certain oddballs seem to think isn't very good these days. Now, everyone was super into it when the first episode dropped. In retrospect, you can have a great time pointing out why the first episode isn't actually as good as you thought it was when you first watched it, but no, it was pretty damn entertaining. One thing isekai anime in general does is they hit you with a whopper of a first episode, at least the good isekai. This was the literal embodiment of escapism in an anime, and then, while everyone is at their highest as far as passion, a little curveball is thrown to them saying, yeah, if you die in the game, you die in real life, and you have to beat the game to leave. Oh, and it's an MMO. MMOs never get beaten. Sorry, suckers! But he gave them an arbitrary goal that would take years to accomplish, where they're gonna have to acclimate to their new life in this world. They become the people of their dreams, because everyone wants to be that legendary hero in an MMO, with a twist that they can never leave. Now, I think this raised many people's expectations through the roof, and when those expectations were ultimately not met, it went from overrating the series to underrating the series. Honestly, the Aincrad arc of Sword Art Online is very solid. People don't think about it these days, because you can only look back at the series to a certain extent, but there really was that philosophical dilemma of, does Kirito even want to go back to the real world? Is life in Aincrad considered living? As well as a genuinely great relationship between Kirito and Asuna, and many other good things. But these are forgotten because of the disappointment felt in the overall series compared to the excitement induced by the first episode. I think if a first episode hits extremely hard, and that level of hype doesn't hit you again throughout the series, it's gonna get underhyped. Now, this is my personal take on the art of a first episode. If you disagree, I'm very curious to hear your reasonings in the comments, but you'll find this is a formula that takes place again and again. Now, the major difference between Attack on Titan and Sword Art Online in this regard, Attack on Titan in eventuality far surpasses anything that we've seen in the first episode, whereas Sword Art Online, well, only does in certain degrees. There's never that big ball drop in the entire series like what happened at the end of episode 1, and I think think this series did get hurt for it. In Attack on Titan, on the other hand, one of the biggest issues that people had with the series was Eren Yeager. Eren's a character who seems to follow the quintessential shonen formula. He just happens to be living in a seinen world. Again, in the first episode, while Eren is a kid, it's totally justified for him to be pissing in his pants and go through some major PTSD. So the first episode, if I can say it again, it was incroyable. But even though I understand that Eren's just a teenager with a vendetta against Titans, for the entirety of Season 1, for the majority of Season 2, and for a bit of Season 3, Eren is a very uninteresting character. As the series progresses, Eren goes from typical to the point of annoying, angry, angsty teen that wants to take revenge for the Uchiha clan, I mean his family, that was killed and wants to take out the Titans, to a genuinely incredible character. There's a bit of a time skip in the manga, like many anime have, and Eren post-time skip is one of the greatest developed protagonists in anime history. Yes, I've said it, and I'll say it again. All of the whiny BS Eren that people have a problem with in early Attack on Titan is fleshed out to such a beautiful extent, and showing how his development went from this little kid to this hardened adult is incredible. So, Attack on Titan, in my mind, for all the reasons I've mentioned, was overrated as the first season was airing, but at this point, I think it's underrated for the greatness that Season 3 Part 2 has to offer, as well as the greatness that we're experiencing in the manga right now. And I think it's safe to say that this doesn't only apply to Eren, just mostly to Eren. Literally every character in the series becomes an incredibly themed personality as the series progresses. Whether it's Eren, Mikasa, Reiner, or Levi, they all genuinely become great characters as opposed to the one-note people that a lot of people were complaining about in early Attack on Titan. Do subscribe and let me know what you want me to be talking about in the comments below. Also, leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Check out my other anime analysis / satire stuff. Link in the description to my Twitter. Feel free to follow me there, as well as a link to my Patreon. All patrons are invited to the Discord server where I hang as incentive, and all donations are really greatly appreciated. I especially wanted to thank David and Noel, Negus Notigus, Burning Bush, Rise Warren, Sage of Snake, Wilson Fletcher, Team Sparky65, The Unknown Taku, Baby Ray, Girthy Worm Jim, Allison Stricker, The Wolf of Gar, JD Fincher, Elaser, The Ethan, Reevy Landek, Kevin McCline, Jordan, White Noise 32, Nasty Frank's Barbecue, Stanley Ramsrud, Talon, Bestest Daddy Cross, Mitchell Garnett, Miriam Ramirez, Chezzy, Hamez the Great, Praise Lord Girugamesha, Billy Thompson, Serial Flex Offender, Sheenon, JJ Slabrams, The Night Brights, LJ, Elijah D. Borden, Don Soko, Divine Reigns, Teakui, Skylar Legg, Samuel Guzman, The Ninth Master, Karma, and TM Philly. I also wanted to thank the Lord Tweegarank, Shubs is the Man, Noctris 13, Baby Ray, Cream My Pancake, Prella, MD, Adria Pika, and Everest. Thanks to Dark Element, Eduardo Flores, Boozerker, Muafak, Necro, Sunny Parks, Maurice Louis Dreyfus, and Gintama for Life for being God Usopp rank, and thanks to the man, the myth, the legend, Steve. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this video. I understand it's a really broad video on Attack on Titan, but I don't really have any experience covering it on my channel, so I don't know where you guys fall as far as liking the series, so let me know in the comments if you do want more. That would be dope. Also, remember to have an awesome evening and to stay weird, fan.